Hello everyone, this is a North American Math Contest Go Go Go! Today, in the following few videos, it is us acting as a sequel to the first video. We are going to talk about how to ace courses in the International Baccalaureate program. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about today is going to be the infotech in a global society. Infotech in a global society SL, what it is about is that it talks about how the human sciences are impacted as a result of development of the IT system. So basically, what ITGS means is that it talks about IT, but it talks about the consequences of IT system in a social science way. You got what I mean? So this will mean that you will see like some of very cliche words that you see every day, like what from the ones like the teacher tell you when you are 5 years old, your kindergarten teacher, elementary teacher, they tell you, okay, computer will result in privacy, security, anonymity, uh, privacy, security, anonymity, digital divide, and something. Yeah, those concepts will be commonly seen. Okay, let's first talk about what the major assessments will be. The major assessments in this will be first of all when we're talking about the internal assessment. Internal assessment it requires you to build a product for a client. This is going to be what the internal assessment is for. And then there's going to be external assessments, which is tests. So it will be paper one. Paper one gives you what's that called? Paper one and paper two are quite similar to be honest, but paper one it will give you like a few cases, and you are required to answer a few questions based on those cases. The questions will be divided into different parts, simply with the comment terms with different comment terms. Those comment terms are 1 point, 2 point, 4 point, 6 point, 8 point. There are 5 types: 1 point, 2 point, 4 point, 6 point, and 8 points. And paper 2, on the other hand, would give you an article. An article is longer than a case study. In this case, it will have 6 fixed questions, which I don't quite, let me think, the 6 fixed questions, and they are going to be divided into quit A, quit B, quit C, quit D directly. Those two things, they added up, it counts as, I think, 80%. 80%. Okay. The 20/80 ratio is different for STL. STL is 30/70. Let's start talking about how to ace this course. The first thing that you need to guarantee to do is you must use the ITGS commenter. You may think that this is a very difficult thing, but the thing you remember a few words, just use them everywhere. Like use them whenever you have chance. Remember those few words. Privacy, security, anonymity, false positive, false negative. Let me think. Privacy, security, and database. Database. Hackers, malwares, those 8 words. Use them at no matter what scenarios you have. In this case, it will get to your 7. Okay. So in this case, if you use 8 words at anywhere, just try to use them at anywhere you want. The second suggestion I would suggest you is just write as hell long as possible. Just write as hell as long as possible. Basically, if you write long, like write it like an English article, they will think that it is genuine. At least both my teachers think so. Like if you just need to remember that in 6 point and 8 point question, you write 2 pros or 2 cons, 2 pros and 2 cons. Remember that for each pro and each cons, just write as much as you can. Write as much as you can with each point developed well. That's what I would suggest. In terms of the basic questions, remember that those will usually come from, I think, a few chapters. I think it's many of them comes from database and spreadsheet. So that unit you need to remember it well. And I think the next thing to come is about Yeah, for the database, there's one specific type of question I want to remind everyone. There's questions that talks about asks you a specific ask you it give you the scenario you are required to find two possible records and two possible fields for it. For this question, all you need to do is remember what the records and fields are, and then it will be fine. Just trying to calm down myself. Okay. And for the concepts, to be honest, I don't quite suggest you to like spend too many times doing concepts. Like concept, you would only need to know what they are, and then it's fine. Why? Because unless your school like says you will have a like quiz style thing that just tests you the basic ITGS vocabularies. Unless your school have that, if your school don't have that, and your test is just simulating the IB style, then I don't quite suggest you like you definitely have to memorize the concept for the ITGF, but you don't have to memorize that deep. You only need to know, okay, what is Jones? What is, like, let's say, for example, I think it's unit 9, right? What is strand 1.9, right? Strand 1.9, strand 2.9, I don't remember. But just, for example, if there's a unit talking about models and simulation, just need to remember what the models is, what simulation is, what's basic steps of models and simulation, and what structure. So, for example, peer-to-peer structure, centralized structure, decentralized structure, what those structure are and how they are. You only need to remember those, and I think you are majorly fine. Just don't spend too much time like trying to memorize the content of the material. You instead need to know how to use them. Because think about it, the basic concept only counts as 2 marks. I think at most 4 marks. 4 marks. And if you write something that is like similar to a human, you will get 1 mark. That's a key thing. So for the longer question, you would need to definitely focus on that. Okay, now let's talk about the IA. We have talked about so much, and then let's talk about the internals. Oh, and also another thing before we jump to paper one, before we jump to the internal assessment. The main thing for the paper one that you have to address is that just remember to control your time. Like there's sometimes I find it always intriguing that sometimes I write a lot, but I don't have enough time because the ITGS the time you have is very condensed. I think it's 30 minutes per question, which is definitely going to be tough. So just remember to practice. Have a pace. Okay, remember the pace that you write the questions. Another thing you need to remember is as a pace. Usually when you see A and B, A question, like the question A. Basically, those are 2 point questions that you don't have idea. Just skip it. Like just go to B and C. Ensure that the B and C is completed first, then go back to A. Because B and C are more important. They are 6 points, 8 points, and you must spend your time on it wisely. Okay. Now let's talk about the let me think. Now let us talk about let me think. Okay, IA, internal assessment. Trying to calm myself. For internal assessment, it is talking about how it works. Sorry. For the internal assessment, basically what you are doing is that you need to build a product for a client. So let's first talk. IBIA is more complex. Let's talk about each criterion indirectly. So basically, the IB has A, B, quit A, quit B, quit C, quit D, quit E, quit F, and quit. I don't think there's quit G. There is, but you don't need to write any documents for it. Quit A is basically. Sorry, sorry. Quit A is basically interview and writing down the initial interview, I think. Initial interview information. Basically, for interview, what I would suggest is you ask like 6 to 7 questions and it is fine. For answering or for writing down the another part of quiz A, I think which is you need to like reflect back your interview results. Overall, I would say that For the interview, just ask 6 to 7 questions and it is fine. For the results, I would suggest it would be easy to get marked. All you need to say is, I think it's about what's your interview or who is your client? What problems does your client have? What is the current solution of your client that your client use for the problem? What inadequacies of the what inadequacies of the current solution it has, and what is the future solution? Those 5 questions. Just remember to answer those. Quick B is on system specification. Basically, for the first few parts, it's all okay. The main difficult thing comes from what's that called? The SPC, the last part, which is the specification requirement. I don't quite remember the specific name of it. But for that part, just remember that you need to talk about what your new solution is, how it is better compared to other solutions. This is important. How it is better compared to other solutions, and how this solution could address others. Uh, then for the quiz C is talking about your project schedule. I think the main thing that you need to follow is that you need to write a lot. That's all. I will say write a lot. Quiz D is going to be product development. Similar to Quiz C, just write as concise as write as much as elaborate as possible. Quiz E is coding. It involves in coding and product development. Overall, this part I would say it's the most time-consuming part. If you are not coding or fluent, I would suggest you to use like a database system. The main benefits of you don't need to worry about whether database is too cliche because I'm also doing like a similar thing. I'm doing database. I'm doing something similar to a database. I can't tell you the specific name, but it's relating to database. That's all you know. And I'm doing a database using it's a database, and I got a pretty good mark. So in this case, you could also use database as well. You could also use coding techniques, or it's also a good idea. Yeah, macros, spreadsheets, those are also all good things. Oh my god, never mind. So after you have coded them, you just need to put them in the what's that called, the product development form. Remember when you talk about the advantages, sorry, not the advantages, the advanced techniques of the ITGS, of the code of the program. Just ensure your program has 3 advanced techniques. For Crit F, it's interview feedback and future development. It's straightforward. All you need to remember is that you need to address all the specific performance requirements listed in Crit B. Okay, that's all. And then just ensure that you follow your direction to Crit G. And I think it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. Okay. So here we come to the end of our video and hope you have learned a lot. See you next week.